Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Some local governments wish to introduce a sex education programme in kindergartens and schools from this September. They wish to use money from the so-called citizens' budget. The Polish Episcopate has warned against the sexualization of children.
In the light of the information that some municipalities are financing sexual and anti-discrimination education in schools in some cities, Bishop Marek Mendyk, chairman of the Catholic Education Commission of the Polish Episcopal Conference, issued an appeal to parents for vigilance and prudence. In order to ensure that children will not take part in these classes, a special statement should be submitted to the school. The classes will entail content that is inconsistent with the professed value system and which goes beyond the core curriculum applicable at a given stage of education. A special waiver for parents is available at the website of the Polish Episcopal Conference.
W związku ze zbliżającym się rokiem szkolnym,
the bishop simply reminds us that during this period, near the start of the school year, parents have an impact on the education of their children. In Warsaw, a lot of confusion was caused by the signing of the LGBT declaration in March by the mayor of the capital, Rafał Trzaskowski, which assumes teaching sex education in accordance with WHO standards. The lessons conducted under the new regulations may start in Warsaw schools from September.
Dzisiaj w polskiej szkole wszystkie zajęcia dodatkowe.
Sexual education classes are not mandatory. If parents do not want their children to attend them, no one will be forced to. However, I implore parents to allow their children to attend those classes because they are there for the good and health of the children.
Na takie zajęcia. To nie jest nic złego, to jest dla ich zdrowia.
Parents who worry about the content of the classes that will be taught to their children can file in their children's schools the waiver taken from their Polish Episcopal website.
The hidden past of a leftist activist, Jolanta Lange, has recently been revealed. The woman speaks on a recording supporting the Diversity Card, an international initiative that supposedly aims to promote diversity and equal employment opportunities irrespective of, among others, sexual orientation. It turns out that in the past she was registered as a communist secret agent under a different name and, jointly with her husband, secretly spied for the communists on the Reverend Franciszek Błaszczyński, the curator of the Light Life movement. Here are the comments on the matter from Dorota Kania, editor-in-chief of Telewizja Republika and co-author of the book Apparatchik's Children.
What has been happening on the streets of major Polish cities for a few months already is a planned action, and surely nobody has any doubts about that. Today's revelation on Twitter regarding past of Jolanta Lange, that the masterminds of this operation are people who have roots in communist Poland. The reason being that this Jolanta Lange is in fact Jolanta Gontarczyk, the secret agent with the codename Virgo, who was active around Rev Blachnicki, who was found dead in suspicious circumstances. There was some presumptive evidence that he was murdered. Mrs. Gontarczyk was an operative of Mr. Aleksander Makowski, an officer of the espionage forces, and also the secret communist services, who later became famous in Free Poland for a presumption that he had captured bin Laden. What is interesting here is that he was never vetted positively because he was involved in spying on Pope John Paul II and was tied to Vatican circles. The aim of his activities was to fight the Catholic Church. His operatives were dedicated to this objective, and Mrs. Gontarczyk, today's Jolanta Lange, was such an operative.
A good time for Poland. This is the election slogan of the Euro Justice Party. Today, the ruling party's election campaign manager, Joachim Brudzinski, presented a billboard promoting the party's slogan. He also announced that the Law and Justice Party candidates will work to convince Poles that the party's programme is good for Poland.
In the next couple of weeks, we'll be organizing meetings with Poles and trying to convince them that our term of office means a good time for Poland. Of course, we make mistakes like everybody else, but we will stick to the same principle as we did during the 2015 elections. This principle says humility and hard work are always in the first place. That is why we want to organize meetings with Poles. It is our candidates' obligation to meet them. Today, we're officially starting our campaign.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban met today in the city of Sopron on the Austrian-Hungarian border to commemorate the Pan-European Picnic of 1989, which started the chain of events culminating in the fall of the Berlin Wall later that year.
On August 19th, Hungary opened its border with Austria near the city of Sopron for 3 hours in order for a pan-European picnic to be organized. Hundreds of East German refugees who had been stuck in Hungary for months used the opportunity to escape through the Iron Curtain into Austria and further into Western Europe. During the press conference, Angela Merkel expressed her gratitude to the Hungarian nation.
I
would like to thank the people of Hungary once more from the bottom of my heart on the eve of Hungary's National Day for the courage they had at the time. Germany will not forget this.
However, she also stated that Germany does see contemporary border protection in a different light from its Hungarian partner.
We differed, and possibly still differ today, on the issue of the right to stay once people are here. Germany has its asylum laws and the Geneva Refugee Convention comes into effect, so these people have a right to stay. But we have to stop people smugglers because today, in many cases, the means are illegal, not legal. We must not support people smugglers whose business is at the expense of refugees, but our bilateral relations are such that we can openly address such issues.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban stressed that Hungary is responsible for protecting the EU's southern border and warned against a continuous flood of migrants. The Hungarian police and border guards are standing in iron down at the southern border. Everyone who reads the intelligence reports knows that the migrant flood is not over. This is a threat that lives with us, and we constantly have to expect the migrant push to grow. If there is anyone who can stop this pressure coming from the south, it is Hungary. The only chance for Germany and Austria to prevent another flood coming in is if Hungary protects the southern borders. I have again made it clear to the Chancellor that we will fulfill this obligation in the future as well. Prime Minister Orban also underlined that all EU member states have their own culture, something which has to be respected. We live a different life from the Germans, the French, the Italians, but we also lead different lives from the Russians and the Serbs. We have our own Hungarian life, which has a constitutional basis and is based on a Christian democratic culture with its Christian freedom, which will always protect in every debate. We are actually proud of these debates. The celebration of the 30th anniversary of the collapse of the Iron Curtain will culminate in Berlin on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.